you're going to be looking at this. And this gets in the way, slows the keys down. So, all right, that might have bothered some of you, but I wanted to do it. You got to put in the work, everybody. Hey, welcome, Jim here from GrassRootsPiano. My channel is 2 years old. I am so excited and grateful to meet so many wonderful adult learners. All right, so 8 bad habits or 8 things you should try to avoid, and we're all guilty of them. This isn't like you're a bad learner, don't ever do this or you'll never play well and you're just gonna suck. No, this is just something that I have witnessed as a teacher for over 30 years, and part of where I'm at in my life right now at 53, I'm really thinking about my legacy and all the different students I've met at different ages, different ethnicities and so forth. It's been a wonderful ride. I'm still teaching, but I'm starting to think about so much has changed in the world. There's so many different situations. I don't want to get political, but there's so much stress in the world. But funny, after 30 years, there's still some common themes that I have run into with adult learners. So what that means is you're not alone. Everyone needs to go through phases. Everyone's going to have issues where we're not sounding good. All right, so number 1, this might apply to you. I've seen this with certain students. It's basically you just want to do what you want to do. And I'm coming from a background, by the way, where I'll pick up adult students after they have been doing some self-teaching, or they might have had a teacher in the past, but the teacher was very busy, so it was this kind of like hit or miss lessons. So they're a bit Swiss cheese, maybe grab some information or not. In this case, some learners are just so excited, and I get it, I'm like that too, and I get really passionate about things. They will do deep dives to the internet. They will go through so many YouTube videos, which can be a lot of fun because there's so many different angles on ways to learn and ways to get motivated. Then there's also the learners at any age that's really impressionable. And sometimes when someone's behind the camera or in front of it, you will think they might be an authority, but you can get really bad advice. And you can't really learn, 1,000 songs with just 4 chords, or is it 100? I don't know, but you might know what I'm talking about. Chords are one thing, but knowing a song and all that stuff is another. I just feel bad as a teacher when someone gets sucked into the honeymoon period and they think it's just this or that. And we're going to come back and revisit some of these steps because it will kind of formulate why I'm bringing these steps up, and it will also kind of prove why I'm coming up with these steps. So more on that soon. So it's okay if you're excited. Honeymoon period's great, but know this, you're gonna get to the point where it's just you and the keys, okay? All right, number 2, this one happens quite often. It's the quantity equals success. I've seen this too many times, and it's no one's fault. It's kind of like how we live. As a music major, this happened. I see it now, even as an educator, when I have my younger students preparing for festivals. The more notes you have, the better you'll be. And the harder it is, the better you'll be. All right, that's another time, another conversation. What I'm getting at is I've had adult learners that will say, oh, I did 6 days this week, great. And I didn't do everything you said, but I followed this video and I did this and I did that. I'm happy that they're motivated. But a few things. Don't think you're going to get better by just putting in the time. They say practice makes perfect. Really, it's perfect practice will make a better, happier musician. And that's where I'm at with my channel. I am here to help adult learners enrich their lives, enrich their goals in life as far as playing some of the songs and pieces they love to play. It's not about an identity on how fast you can play or how hard your music is. It's about you connecting your human soul to the music, to the art that you love. So you spend the time that you need, and you want to think the quality versus quantity. Too many times I've seen people hit roadblocks because they think if I do this much time, that will be the result. I'm sure there's going to be other opinions on this, but just think when you're sitting down at the piano, you can have your jam time. I do that a lot of times when I'm stressed. I've been very stressed lately, so I'll just futz around a little bit, maybe think of a cool video I'm going to do. But then there's times where you got to get to work. We're at 3, okay? So number 3 is this. It's too hard learning music. It's just too hard. And you know what? It is a language, and it's in many different, there's a lot of ingredients with music. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of gears. Psst. Hey, could you hit the like button? Helps out, thanks. But when a learner says it's too hard, so they'll just grasp an angle and they'll take their pencil, better not be pen, but they'll take their pencil and they'll start writing in the notes. All right, so some of you might be hating on me because, well, we're thinking, we're learning, we got to start from somewhere, Jim. I get it, especially when we get into ledger lines and everything else. But when you have a learner writing in the notes where you know where middle C is at this point, but you're just doing it to ensure that it's easier. And we're talking months. I'm not a hater here, but I've seen students at any age, even adults, they'll write in the notes and they'll write in the C's, the D's, whatever, E flat, over and over again. So what happens? You're never learning how to look at lines and spaces. You're just looking at that letter. So our brains are grasping that. You might be tired, you might have a busy life, but if you do a little work and just put on the brakes and just say, no, I'm going to learn that first line is E and sit with it. That's so important. And you're going to get the foundation. Real side note here, if you want to get better at learning, think about musictheory.net, www.musictheory.net. There's a lot of great things in there. All right, so number 4, this kind of will capitalize on the other stuff. Surface learning, or surf learning, I call it. And that is, what are we doing? All right, so you want to learn Silent Night, you kind of play, you might look at some of the videos where it's all visuals, and then the next day you'll kind of go and maybe look at a Piano Man thing, which is a really hard piano for beginners, but you're going to learn some patterns and you might get a few seconds down. And then, well, you're supposed to do the C scale, but you're kind of bored and you really like Silent Night, you're going to do that, but you only can do the first 4 bars and you repeat it. I know I'm sounding a little maybe, what's the word, grumpy, teacher grumpy, if you will. It's not that I'm grumpy, it's just that the surface learning will teach you just to get a little bit down and not hold yourself accountable. So what do you do if you're surface learning? Well, you know what? Just enjoy it if you're doing it, but just understand at the end of your session, end of the week, come clean with things like, well, I never got a full song down. Maybe I should do that. And you should. And some of us are afraid to do something simple. We want to just kind of get something cool down and maybe play for a family member or something so it sounds good. That's totally normal. But a good musician, when they're hearing someone play and they're doing something really basic, they're like, oh, they know what they're doing. They're laying it down. They're going to focus. They're focusing on arm weight today. That is good. And this is a whole other side conversation. But people will always say, I just don't have the time. I'm 65 now. I don't have time to do this kind of learning. Well, quick story. I know an adult student, probably in their early 70s now. They never did the time. They took shortcuts, and now they're even more frustrated. So the point is, if they took the time that first year, they would have some momentum going with learning. There we go. Again, just 30 years I've been observing stuff. All right, where are we at? So number 5. All right, I got a little prop here, just in case if you need a little prop instead of looking at my face. Before I show it, I'm going to mention that this is okay to do at times. All right, so us teachers do use this at times. And what this is a keyboard label thing, and companies make big bucks off of this. And if you're playing pieces that are in the similar keys, this one's pretty cool though. It does show you where the notes are on the staff. You at one point are not going to need this. And it's just like reading the music off the sheet. You're going to, instead of looking at the black note or orientating yourself, you're going to be looking at this. And this gets in the way, slows the keys down. So, all right, that might have bothered some of you, but I wanted to do it. You can use that, but you just want to take these training wheels off. Trust me, you will. You can go on different forums, and a lot of adult learners will say the same thing. The sooner you get off of it, the better off you'll be. All right, so if you're interested in getting structured practice, here we go. I do have a free 16-page structured practice guide that I created, and it's pretty helpful. In fact, I get a look at it because there's some resources in there that I need to revisit as a teacher. All right, so we're at 6. Here's one, and this kind of encompasses some of the stuff, and some of you might have already clicked off by now because, like, who is this guy? You know, yeah, so what? He's been teaching for 30 years. He's not famous. Oh, don't even get me started. But Here it is. Well, I just want to have fun. And that might have been going through some people's heads when I was mentioning a few of these, like, you just want to do what you want to do. It's too hard. I just want to have fun. I like surface learning. I had a busy day at work, so I just want to scroll. I kind of like looking at the colors and hitting the keys, but then I kind of want to read. All right, so here we go. I want to have fun too, as a creator, as a music person, as a music teacher, as a music educator. But when we're not growing, we're not going. Again, if we're not growing, we're not going. I've had students where they can play one piece well, but that's all they do. That's it. Are they happy? I don't know, because then when they want to play with a group, they can't do anything. They can't play notes or something, so they just go back to what they know. I mean, we're talking like over and over again. I review a lot, but if you want to have fun, you're going to have to understand that if you can go through the valley of despair, you're going to be much better off. I call it the valley of despair because you need to start thinking about your weaknesses. A lot of music teachers seem to break things down where we have to talk about, let's say you want to lose weight, and it just doesn't happen overnight. You have to follow a program. You have to learn about your nutrition. You're going to put some exercise in there. And if you stick to it, you're going to see results. Number 7, this one is interesting because it's like an external and internal learning. I'm finding in the society that I live in, everything is external. So I've had students that can play something pretty impressive, but I'm not sure if they're even hearing what they're doing or what key they're in because they're at the keys. It's all visual. And that's what we do with video. We're all learning by visual. So what happens with that is you get something down, great, but you're only going to remember it for so much time and all is lost. Again, the foundation isn't there. And if we want to go back, well, I just want to have fun. All right, so you can have fun as long as you know that you're not going to grow. And you're just going to dibble-dabble a little bit. And maybe that's what you want to do. And in 3 months, you're going to quit, I guess, if that's what you want to do. But the cool thing is, side note, if you don't quit, you're going to enjoy it even more and more doors open. Internal learning is where you are going to really understand what you're doing, how you're doing it. Maybe you're following a really good method book. Maybe you're working with a teacher if you can afford one. Or maybe you're going to different YouTube channels where you're understanding what that creator, music educator is suggesting. That is a good thing. Again, that practice guide will have certain goals and maybe diary thoughts and all that. All right, so we are at number 8, which I touched upon before, and this kind of covers everything. If you're going to be lazy, if you just want to have fun, make sure you know that you're going to have lackluster results. So I have a Facebook group years ago. I don't even remember the question, but it was something about basic music theory. And a member in there just said, well, I know you don't want to hear this, but I really don't want to learn theory. I just want to get to the songs and all that. No one wants to sit and just do 30 minutes of theory a day. All right, and you only have maybe 30 minutes to play. However, getting some analytical skills will take you much farther. All right, going back to the story, remember to refresh. The learner said, I just want to play. I don't want to learn theory. I know you don't want to hear this as a teacher, but I just want to play. Here's the catch. And I was like, oh man, I feel so bad. In that same thread, tons of questions came in from this wonderful member, and they were asking questions. How do I know what key I'm in? How do I know what fingers to use? How do I know if that's a flat note? People, do you see what I'm getting at here? They have decided to shortchange themselves because they want to have fun. I'm giving real proof of field experience over decades. And I'm not hating on anybody. I'm just helping because I know what it's like to learn something new. And I'll leave you with this. I love cooking. If I want to cook, I'm going to apply my music knowledge. I want to enjoy the process. I want to go ahead and figure out why the ingredients are going to work the way they are, why the temperature is going to be this way. Why should I not use olive oil or some different oil? But you know, maybe that's the teacher in me, I'm the geek, the musician. We're all about the process. All right. Hopefully this is helpful. Some of you take a lot of benefit from these videos. There's another video you should watch right here. And if you can't watch all of it, please read the comments because they're really invaluable and it's an awesome community of thoughts. And I have really enjoyed dialing in and listening to everyone's thoughts. It's really helpful. Bye-bye. Take care. And you better practice if you're still here.